A geopolitical tour of the world, navigating the complexities of international relations, requires an understanding of the geopolitical landscape, which is becoming more and more interconnected. The dynamics of global politics are complex and multifaceted, ranging from the historical legacies of empires that have shaped modern states to the strategic significance of geography and the emergence of new global powers. In this video, we will take you to the geopolitical tour of the world, which explores the key themes that define contemporary issues. Number 6. The importance of geography. Geographical factors are crucial in determining the dynamics of global power, as demonstrated by Halford Mackinder's Heartland theory. This theory holds that any power aiming to rule over Eurasia and, consequently, the world must have control over Eastern Europe and the surrounding areas. The Heartland, which includes portions of present-day Russia and Central Asia, is thought to be a strategically significant location from which a country can project power throughout Asia and Europe. This idea is still relevant today as countries like China and Russia compete for influence in these vital strategic areas. For example, Russia's 2014 annexation of Crimea can be seen as an attempt to thwart NATO's eastward expansion while securing its access to the Black Sea and asserting its dominance over Eastern Europe. Furthermore, China's increasing military buildup in the South China Sea is a reflection of its aim to dominate vital maritime routes that are vital to its economy and energy supply. Countries' alliances, military plans, and economic prospects are determined by their geographic locations. For instance, landlocked nations have a harder time entering international markets than coastal ones. Geopolitical competition frequently centers around regions with abundant minerals or oil, indicating that geography also affects the distribution of resources. Therefore, given that geography influences both the dynamics of conflict and state cooperation, an understanding of geography is essential to an understanding of modern international relations. Number 5. China's expanding influence. China's Belt and Road Initiative is a major endeavor to extend its influence throughout Eurasia through economic partnerships and infrastructure investment. The BRI was introduced by President Xi Jinping in 2013 with the goal of establishing a modern Silk Road that would improve trade and reinforce China's geopolitical dominance. By funding infrastructure projects in participating nations such as ports, energy pipelines, railways, and highways, China cultivates economic ties that can eventually lead to dependencies that can be converted into political leverage. For instance, China provided loans for the construction of Sri Lanka's Hambantota port, but due to poor management and an overestimation of the port's economic benefits, Sri Lanka was unable to repay the loans. As a result, China entered into a 99-year lease agreement with Sri Lanka, which raised questions about sovereignty and possible neo-colonialism. Furthermore, the BRI has come under fire for allegedly putting nations in debt traps, whereby unsustainable borrowing practices associated with BRI projects cause countries to become unduly indebted to China. This begs the question of sovereignty, since countries might find themselves ceding their independence in response to China's financial pressure. Furthermore, the BRI is appending established Western dominance in international affairs and reshaping global trade routes and alliances. As a result, other powers like the US and the EU have responded by launching alternative initiatives to offset China's influence. Number 4. Turkey's strategic position. Turkey is an important player in regional politics with substantial ramifications for the dynamics of global security because of its unique geopolitical position as a bridge connecting Europe and Asia. Turkey's geographical advantage gives it control over important energy transit routes from the Middle East to Europe and places it at a crossroads of cultures, which has historically made it a crucial player in international diplomacy. Turkey has pursued an assertive foreign policy under President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's direction since 2003. The goal is to increase Turkey's influence throughout the Middle East while balancing its complicated relationships with NATO allies and neighboring powers like Russia and Iran. Turkey has demonstrated a capacity for balance in its involvement in multiple conflicts, including those in Syria and Libya. It has backed various factions, including Syrian rebel groups that oppose Bashar al-Assad, in an effort to advance its strategic interests. At the same time, Turkey has taken in millions of Syrian refugees, a move that has grave humanitarian consequences, but also advances Turkey's geopolitical agenda by allowing it to leverage its negotiating position with Europe over migration policies. Turkey is crucial to projects like the Trans-Anatolian Natural Gas Pipeline, which aims to transport gas from Azerbaijan to Europe through Turkish territory, thereby reducing European dependence on Russian gas supplies, and its significance in global geopolitics is further enhanced by its role as a transit country for energy resources. This complex role highlights Turkey's importance both in its immediate region and on larger international arenas where energy security continues to be a major concern. Number 3. The aftermath of U.S. interventions. The U.S. military's involvement in the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq should serve as a lesson in the difficulties of nation-building and the limitations of foreign intervention tactics that frequently ignore local conditions. These interventions, which were initially justified on the basis of reasons like advancing democracy or fighting terrorism in the wake of the 9/11 attacks, often caused unanticipated chaos that increased already existing tensions instead of effectively resolving them. Specifically in Iraq, the overthrow of Saddam Hussein left a power vacuum that fanned sectarian violence between Sunni and Shiite factions and gave rise to extremist groups such as ISIS, whose rise can be linked to dissatisfaction among marginalized Sunni populations regarding U.S.-led policies that favored Shiite political dominance following Hussein's elimination. The invasion spearheaded by the United States was not only unable to take into consideration long-standing ethnic divisions, but it also lacked a well-thought-out plan for instituting stable governance that would have brought these groups together around a shared national identity. The ongoing conflict between government forces supported by international coalitions and Taliban insurgents highlights the difficulties associated with establishing lasting peace when local grievances go unaddressed or are made worse by foreign military presence perceived as occupiers rather than liberators. In a similar vein, Afghanistan has experienced decades of instability despite significant foreign investment aimed at rebuilding institutions. These outcomes highlight how important it is for outside actors operating militarily or politically in complex environments like Iraq or Afghanistan to comprehend regional dynamics, including historical context, before becoming involved. Failure to do so can result in both increased destabilization and prolonged conflict. Number 2. Governance over democracy. Kaplan offers an alternative strategy in light of the difficulties in advancing Western-style democracy in areas with complicated histories and cultures distinguished by religious or tribal affiliations, encouraging consultative governance that takes local public opinion into account, without necessarily holding traditional elections based only on Western democratic models, which might not be appealing to all societies worldwide. This model puts stability above ideological purity by letting governments, whether they are authoritarian or semi-democratic, interact with the public on matters of importance without running the risk of rapid democratization sparking unrest or an authoritarian backlash against alleged outside meddling. For example, several Middle Eastern nations have experimented with hybrid forms of government that combine contemporary state apparatuses with traditional tribal or religious structures, an approach that recognizes local realities and allows for some degree of public participation, even in the absence of full electoral processes. Without imposing foreign models that are unsuited to their population, countries can achieve greater social cohesion and political stability by concentrating on governance structures that are more suited to local contexts, such as community councils, advisory boards, or consultative assemblies. This practical approach acknowledges the diversity found in societies and strives to build frameworks that are responsive to citizens' needs and aspirations instead of imposing one-size-fits-all solutions, which are frequently observed during attempts at democratization that are primarily driven by Western interests. Number 1. Complexity of regional issues. It is necessary to acknowledge the complex interactions between history, culture, politics, and economy in each region in order to comprehend the geopolitical challenges of today. Misguided policies that fail to address the underlying causes and respect local realities can result from oversimplifying these issues. For instance, sectarianism alone cannot fully explain conflicts in places like Syria and Yemen. Historical grievances resulting from colonial legacies, economic disparities exacerbated by globalization, external interventions by various global powers seeking influence such as Russia's support for Assad, and regional power struggles such as Saudi Arabia's rivalry with Iran are all factors. A nuanced approach is necessary if policymakers are to interact with these complex environments in an effective manner. One must recognize the historical context while remaining flexible to changing conditions. Understanding this complexity enables better informed decision-making that takes stability and short-term requirements into account. Additionally, recognizing the diversity of viewpoints within regions encourages communication and collaboration among stakeholders, which in turn supports efforts to promote peace. Therefore, it is critical to develop comprehensive strategies that address the multifaceted nature of regional issues in order to ensure sustainable solutions capable of fostering resilience in communities that face a multitude of challenges in the modern world. These insights highlight how historical legacies continue to shape contemporary issues across various regions and offer a deeper understanding of important themes in contemporary global geopolitics. Thanks for watching our video, and don't forget to subscribe.